I received a comment on one of my videos this week where someone who apparently was from somewhere in a Muslim country in the Middle East was saying that ultimately if I had the turban and I was wearing the right type of clothes and I grew my beard, that ultimately I would physically fit in just fine in a Middle Eastern country. Now that's of course assuming that I spoke the right language and knew all the customs and that sort of thing. But ultimately, as Americans in the United States, we have certain concept of what it means to look like you're from the Middle East and specifically Muslim. But living where I live here in the Nashville area, there are many people from the Middle East and who are Muslim, and I have seen people who had actually lighter skin than I did, and the features that would be considered Middle Eastern actually were weaker than my own, even though, I mean, I show like a little bit of Middle Eastern on my DNA test, but my mom showed like 14%. So it's definitely there, and especially if you count the Jewish on her side too, then about a third of my mom's DNA is coming from the Middle East. But when I saw that comment, it really got me thinking. I wonder ultimately, let's say that had I not been born in the United States and had I been born in, let's name a country, Iran, let's just say Iran, and I was Muslim and I was dressed appropriately and I spoke the right language, would you be able to look at me and not think anything about it? Like, yep, ethnically totally fits in with everybody else. There's nothing that stands out about this guy ethnically. He has the appropriate features. I mean, I'll give you an example in case we need this. I don't think anyone needs this example, but you take a Chinese guy from China, ethnically Chinese, Asian, and you put him, obviously he's going to stand out. But for me, would I totally just kind of get away with it if that were me in that situation? I haven't really thought about this, or if I haven't thought about it in a while. But ultimately, and so many people have assumed that I am of Jewish descent and said that, and it goes without saying, right, that if you're Jewish or Middle Eastern, but just not in the way that see, here in the United States, we differentiate between Jewish and Middle Eastern. And maybe I just accidentally turned this into two different topics, because now I think people are going to be talking about that in the comments, that ultimately, is there any way to distinguish between Middle Eastern and Jewish other than the fact of ultimately the religion that typically follows accordingly? We've got a lot to sort out right here in the comment section.